ways around that hope credit. If your students play a varsity or JV sport for 2 seasons, there's a hope waiver. It's just a form they can fill out. Or if they do 2 years of ROTC, that can also count as their hope and their fine art. We do need the one performing or fine art credit. There's lots of ways to get that. Your traditional art classes, band, chorus, orchestra, 3D art, but then also a lot of your CTE classes like your culinaries, your OJ, or culinaries, auto techs, the digital design, a lot of the computer classes will meet that fine art credit requirement there. Everything else that your students are taking that doesn't check one of those boxes is going to count towards those electives. We need 8 electives for graduation. Again, 24 total credits, minimum 2.0 unweighted GPA. Just down there on the bottom, one important note, the online course is no longer required. They got rid of that requirement for this year's seniors. So if your students haven't taken a class online and they don't want to take one online, they no longer have to. So that's been a nice little change for us. If your students are behind on credits, if they missed something along the way, if they failed a class or didn't take a class that they know that they needed, we will have summer credit recovery here at Bloomingdale this summer. The dates are up there, June 10th through July 18th. There is no class on July 4th. That'll be Monday through Thursday from 8:30 to 1:30. So it's kind of an open lab. Students can come in. We'll kind of fill out a form letting the teacher there know what credits or classes they need to make up, and then they can work on that over the summer. Summer school is a really great way to get caught up. Again, if your students are missing something, if you know that they failed a class that they need for graduation, if you're not sure, definitely reach out to us. We can kind of check that for you. But that's a really good way to get back on track so that way senior year, there's no stress, you're not worried about graduation. We know that you've got everything that you need. Again, those 2 tests, so the credits, the GPA, those are 2 of the 3 things you need. The third piece there are the 2 tests that you need for graduation, the Algebra 1 end of course exam and the 10th grade fast reading. If your students are still working on those 2 tests, if they haven't passed one or haven't passed both, there are some other ways to meet that graduation requirement. They can get a concordance score. So for students who are working on the Algebra 1 end of course exam, any of those scores up there will work. The 430 PSAT math, the 420 SAT math, the 16 ACT, the 11 CLT, or the level 3 geometry EOC. So if your students haven't passed the Algebra 1 EOC, they're going to be taking all of these tests this semester into next year. Any of those scores will work for that Algebra 1 EOC. Similar thing with the 10th grade fast reading. So for students who haven't passed that reading test, 480 on the SAT, an average of 18 on the ACT English and reading, and then a total of 36 on the CLT verbal reasoning and grammar writing section. So just know again, if you know that your students are still working on one or both of those tests, there are other options or other ways to meet that test requirement, and they'll be taking those tests through the rest of the semester and then into next year as well. So SAT, ACT registration, so for you students who are juniors, this is kind of a good time to start thinking about taking these tests. We'll talk about the school day SAT in a minute, but the SAT, the ACT, the CLT, you can register for all of those tests online. Students will use any of these tests for Bright Futures and also to apply to college. Most colleges are going to want to see at least one set of test scores. I always recommend everybody take each test at least one time, see which test works best for you, and then you can retest as many times as you need to. We have links to all 3 of these websites on the Bloomingdale Guidance website, or you can just go directly to each website. If you just Google SAT, you'll find it. Google ACT, it'll get you there. Students who are eligible for free or reduced lunch also qualify for fee waivers. So if you know you've had free or reduced lunch in the past, this year all of our students are on free lunch, so there is no applying for free lunch, but there's a separate form. It's called the alternate income verification form. You can find that in the bulletin. It's also on the school website. If you fill that form out and send it in, it'll go to the district office and they'll determine if you're eligible. They let us know, and then we can use that to get you those fee waivers. So if you think you're in that boat, if you know you've had free or reduced lunch in the past, just check with your counselor and we can help you get that set up, get those waivers set up for you. And then just note that testing deadline on the bottom there. So for Bright Futures, students have to have their test scores by August 31st, 2025. That would be August after they graduate. So you can test all the way through this summer, through next year, through the summer after graduation to get those test scores for Bright Futures. And we'll talk a lot about Bright Futures in just a minute. So the SAT school day, all of our juniors took the SAT back in March 6th. That was during the school day. That's a real SAT. So your students can use that score to apply to college, to send off to for college admission, but also to qualify for Bright Futures. So if they got the score that they need on that school day SAT, they're in really good shape at this point. I would still test again just to try to bump that score up. But that kind of gives you a good idea of where your students are with that SAT. And then, like I said, I would also look at taking the ACT sometime before the start of next year. In thinking about the differences, there are a few differences between the two tests, again, which is why it's a good idea to take both. The SAT this year has gone fully digital. It's no longer on paper, it's all on the computer. The ACT is still old-fashioned paper and pencil. The SAT is a lot shorter. The SAT is shorter. The ACT is a much longer test. The ACT has a science section, whereas the SAT doesn't. So depending on how your students feel about science, that may be a sort of deciding factor in which test they should start with. There's a separate optional essay on the ACT. A lot of colleges don't use the essay, but there are some sort of specific schools, some of those really highly selected schools will want to see that ACT essay. And the math is pretty similar on both. There are a couple of differences in terms of the content there. But it's just helpful to know kind of what the format of each test is and maybe which one may play to your students' strengths. In getting ready for those two things, all of the websites will offer free practice. KhanAcademy.org is a really great website. I know a lot of students use that one for just any kind of other tutoring, like if they're working on math or science homework or whatever. But Khan Academy a few years ago partnered with College Board, the company that makes the SAT, and they now do all of the official SAT practice. It's all online through College Board. It's totally free. You can just create an account on the College Board website. You can link it to your, create an account on the Khan Academy website, link it to your College Board account. Khan Academy will pull in your test scores. So any PSAT or SAT scores that you have, Khan Academy will pull those in and it'll give you individual feedback. So based on these tests, what are the things that you need to work on? Where did you miss the most questions? It gives you practice questions, videos, walkthroughs, examples, lots of really good resources there through that program. And then obviously taking those higher level classes, taking those harder English and math classes will really help your students build the skills that they need to be as successful as possible when it comes to taking those tests. Okay, so let's talk about a few ways that students can earn college credit while they're here in high school. We have several different programs here at Bloomingdale. The AP program has been really strong for us for a very long time. The ACE program is new to us this year, and then we've also got dual enrollment classes. So we'll talk about each of these in a little more detail. So with AP and ACE, students are taking those classes here at the high school. It's just a regular class on their schedule. They take an exam at the end of the year. So they either take an AP exam, or we just started our ACE exams today. Passing those exams earns students college credit. So when they go off to college, the college will look at those exam scores, and they can award credit for those passing scores. The grade that they earn in those classes stays here at the high school. So they earn credit, but there's no grade attached to that credit. So they don't have a college GPA, it's impacting their high school GPA only. That's the big difference when you're looking at dual enrollment. So dual enrollment is an HCC class that students take while they're here at Bloomingdale. When you take a dual enrollment class, when you take an HCC class, you are starting your college transcript. So the grade that you get in that class will show up on your transcript when you go to college. You start out HCC dual enrollment and you get an A, you got a 4.0, everybody's happy, this is good. You take a dual enrollment class and you get a C, now you've got a 2.0 college GPA, and that can hurt you with things like financial aid and scholarships and admission. So it's just really important to be careful with those dual enrollment classes. Make sure if your students are taking those dual enrollment classes that they're getting grades that they're going to be okay with when they go to college, because those grades will follow you, unlike the AP and ACE classes. All three of those programs earn students an extra 0.08 points on their GPA, so those are weighted more heavily than an honors or a regular class. With dual enrollment. So dual enrollment's been super popular, especially it feels like in the last few years it's really kind of blown. There are a couple things that students need to have to be eligible to take dual enrollment classes. The first thing is a 3.0 unweighted GPA, so that's without those extra points added in. And then they need what's called college-ready test scores. And there are a lot of ways to get those college-ready test scores. You just need one set of scores. You don't have to get all of these scores on all of these tests. But you can use the PERT, the SAT, the new digital SAT, the PSAT, or the ACT. And you would just need one set of those scores to be eligible to start that dual enrollment class. College Algebra, I've called that one out specifically there. College Algebra is the first math class that you can take at HCC that gets you a whole high school credit. That one has higher test scores, so the math score there to take that College Algebra class is higher than the regular math score to take you were going to take like a dual enrollment science class. So just kind of know that, and you can find all this information on HCC's website. You can just search for dual enrollment as well. Dual enrollment also has specific deadlines, so if your students are thinking about taking a dual enrollment class for the fall, that window is open right now. They can submit that paperwork right now. They have until May 17th to turn those forms into HCC. And then they have to register the class no later than July 12th. There is no wiggle room on those deadlines. So if your students are thinking about dual enrollment for next year and they haven't talked to their counselor yet, they haven't got those forms yet, now is the time to do that. So really encourage them to make sure get the forms that you need, get everything filled out, get it turned in if you're planning on dual enrollment in the fall. We do have some dual enrollment classes here at Bloomingdale. So we have 3 different classes that we offer. So first year experience, that one's offered throughout the day, basically every period. We also do it before school and after school. So students have certain classes that they like to take during the day. Maybe they've got a full schedule with band or ROTC or whatever. They can still take that first year experience class with a Bloomingdale teacher either before or after school. And that would be 2 days a week either way. We also have the early American history and modern American history. A lot of students take this one in their junior year as their U.S. history credit, but it is open to any student who meets the eligibility requirements. That one is only after school, and that would be again 2 days a week. This summer, we're actually going to offer that SLS, which is the first year experience class, here on campus. That's going to run June 18th to July 22nd, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 12. We will have registration information coming soon. One other note with that SLS class, that first year experience class, that one does not require test scores. So if your student has the 3.0 GPA, they would be eligible to take that class, whether or not they have those college ready scores. So if they haven't tested yet, if they don't want to go take the PERT or whatever, they've got the 3.0, they could sign up for that SLS class. That was a really good one to start with. It's kind of an introduction to dual enrollment. It's a little bit less academic. You're kind of learning about HCC and their programs and processes and mapping out your major and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a really good one to start with. It's an easy way to get some college credit in high school. Industry certifications, I was going to add some more on the slide, I forgot to do that. So industry certifications, kids can get industry certifications through the CTE classes that they're taking here at Bloomingdale. So again, those would be classes like your auto techs, your digital designs, your culinaries. These are certifications that students can take with them when they go out into the workforce, so they can help you with getting a job. These are career certifications that give you a credential, so when you're applying for a job, you've got to step up on someone who doesn't have that experience. Some industry certifications will also articulate for college credit. So if you get an industry certification and then go into, say, like an associate in science degree program, which would be like a 2-year career program, those industry certifications can count for some of the classes that you have to take as part of that program. So these are really good, it's a really good opportunity for students, whether you're looking at going to college or you're planning on going right into the workforce. Getting those industry certifications can really make a difference for you. And again, you can earn those through any of the CTE courses that we offer here at Bloomingdale. So, if your students are been in TV production for 4 years, or maybe they do culinary, or maybe they do the auto program, that's an opportunity for students, and we really encourage you to take advantage of that. It can really pay off in the long run. The ACE diploma. So we talked a little bit about the ACE exams. The ACE program is new for us this year at Bloomingdale. So this is kind of the first year we've started the ACE exams. But basically, to earn the ACE diploma, students need to take and pass 7 ACE courses in fewer than 3 years. So if you're a junior this year, getting that ACE diploma would mean you're probably taking 3 or 4 ACE classes right now, and then you would take 3 or 4 next year, depending on how many you're taking this year. So you need a total of 7 in a 3-year period. If you earn that ACE diploma, if you graduate with the ACE diploma and you do your community service or work hours, you automatically qualify for that 100% Bright Futures. So you don't have to worry about the GPA, you don't have to worry about the test scores. You just got to make sure you're passing those ACE classes and passing those ACE exams. ACE exam results for this year. So for students who are taking an ACE class right now, who are taking those ACE exams, those exam results will be available in August. They're scheduled to be available, I should say, in August. So next fall, right before we come back to school. So keep an eye on that. If you are a junior right now taking those ACE classes and you're planning on getting that ACE diploma, definitely talk to your counselor. We can help you with that. We can kind of map that out, make sure you're on track with that, and getting the right classes and the right groups for that ACE diploma. Okay, college admission. So now is the time. So this is something that I think a lot of kids don't think about. It's like college is a year and a half away. At that time, I'm okay. Now is the time. If you are a junior in college, high school right now, I always say to kids, by the end of this summer, you should have your list of schools planned out. So if you haven't started looking at colleges yet, now is the time to do that. Start thinking about where you might want to go, what are some schools you're interested in, what are some majors you might be interested in, but you gotta be proactive here. So taking the SAT and ACT this year is huge. I would say to try and get one of each before you come back senior year. That way you've taken them both, you know which one you like better, you can focus on that test to try to bump those scores up to improve your chances for admission and also to help with bright futures. Again, looking at schools, so there's lots of free places to look for colleges. I use the College Board website all the time with students. It's a really easy college search feature where you can kind of play with the filters and find schools that have exactly what you're looking for. If you're an athlete, if you're planning to play college sports, definitely reach out to the athletic office at your schools that you're considering. Once you're being officially recruited, you want to register with the NCAA Eligibility Center. They basically just verify that you took the right classes in high school, that you don't have 26 PD credits, you have enough credits to actually graduate. If you're looking at, especially like a creative major, like maybe art or dance or something like that, you want to start collecting work samples. You want to start putting together your portfolio, writing samples, audition tapes, those kinds of things. So if you're looking at, again, one of those more creative majors, a lot of times they're going to want to see samples of your ability. So start thinking about that, start putting together that portfolio. And then summer activities. So this is your last summer in high school. If you are a junior, this is the last summer that you will be in high school. So think about what you can do this summer to improve your chances of admission. How can I make myself stand out? What can I do this summer that I can put on my resume that's going to help me get into the school that I want to get into? So looking at things like work experience, community service, are there classes that maybe you can take? Are there other things you can get involved with? Are there leadership opportunities out there for the summer that you can take advantage of so that when you're applying to schools next fall, you've got this stuff that you can put in on that resume or on that college application. And then again, researching majors, researching careers. Again, that College Board website, like I said, it's really easy to use. You can find lots of information on different majors. You can find schools that offer those majors. You can see the careers that those majors will lead to. But there's lots of other websites out there that can help with that too. If you just Google, college major search, you'll find a ton of stuff out there. So what is it that colleges are looking for? So this is kind of some of the things that they're looking at. The rigor of the courses that you've taken. So how hard are the courses that you took? That's one of the big things that colleges are looking for. So I know that senioritis is a real thing, and I know that there are kids who have really worked hard through their junior year and they want to take it easy senior year. We really encourage you not to do that. You want to maintain the level of rigor that you've had all the way through high school. So if you're normally taking 3 or 4 ACE classes, if you're taking those ACE classes or dual enrollment classes, continue doing that in your senior year. I know the temptation to kind of take that year and have fun, easy years is there, but that's going to hurt you in the long run. We really want you to continue pushing yourself. It should be sort of an upward trajectory in terms of difficulty. They're going to look at your GPA. So what are the grades that you're getting in those classes? Your test scores, SAT, ACT scores, and then sort of all the extra stuff, your leadership experience, the extracurricular stuff, your essays, your letters of recommendation, all of those kinds of things are kind of secondary to that, GPA, test scores, and how hard are your classes. Certain colleges will prioritize things differently, so usually your big state schools, they get so many applications, they don't really have time to read a bunch of rep letters and a bunch of essays and things like that. They're really looking at the data, the black and white, what's your GPA, what are your test scores. If you're looking at some of those smaller private schools, some of those liberal arts schools, they may put more stock into those extra things, those letters of recommendation, those essays. They want to know a little bit more about you as a person because you're going to be one of a smaller group of people on campus. So kind of knowing the schools that you're applying to and what's important to that particular school can help you tailor that application to have a better shot at acceptance. So we always encourage kids to apply to a variety of schools. We kind of think of it as sort of a 3-tiered system. So you've got your reach schools, your match schools, and your safety schools. Your reach schools are those really competitive schools where very few people get in. They have a really low acceptance rate. Your Ivy League schools, your service academies, your big time state schools that are just super competitive. Your match schools are going to be schools where you basically meet the admissions requirements. You basically match up with the average student who gets accepted there. And then your safety schools, these are schools where you know that you're going to get accepted. HCC is a really great safety school. I always encourage everybody to put in an HCC application just so you've got that one in your back pocket. But it's a good idea to kind of look at your stats and see kind of where you fall. fall, and then kind of identify what are some reach schools that I'm interested in. You want to have a couple of match schools, and then at least one safety school, just so you've got a few options. Organization. So this is a lot of information. You're going to be dealing with a lot of information in a very short timeline. It's very important to be organized, so figure out a system that works for you. Find a way to be able to compare your schools side by side, looking at everything from costs to majors to housing options, food, all that stuff, whether you do a spreadsheet or whatever, something that works for you to kind of be able to see all of that information at once. The admissions tour matrix, so that's a link. So if you bring up this PowerPoint from our website, you click on that link, it'll bring you to a file called the admissions tour matrix. This is a document that has information on all of the public schools in Florida. So you can see the average GPA, the average test score, the number of students, the most popular majors, location, size, all of that information, all in one place. So the admissions tour matrix is a really helpful document. I would definitely take a look at that, especially if you're considering any of the public schools in Florida. Most schools will have an application checklist, so once you kind of start that application, you'll be able to see what are all of the other things I need to submit. Definitely keep an eye on that, use that to your advantage, make sure you're submitting everything ahead of the deadline, and it's always a good idea to just check with the school, make sure that they've got all of your stuff. If you submitted something 2 weeks ago and that checklist still doesn't show it, call the school, say, hey, I turned this in, did you get it? Make sure that they got your stuff, because you don't want to miss a deadline because something got lost, you forgot an attachment or something like that. Just make sure they're getting all the things that you're submitting. Normally you can submit everything piece by piece, so sometimes kids feel like I have to wait to send my test scores until I've submitted the application. You don't have to do that. You can submit everything whenever it's ready. So send your test scores as soon as you have them, send the application as soon as it's ready, send the transcript. You don't have to have all the pieces ready to go all at once. You can do it piece by piece as you get those things done. Basically, don't wait. Submit everything as soon as you've got it. The general advice is to plan to have your applications done by November 1st. So it's a tight window. You guys come back in August. You want to hit those applications as soon as you can. Have everything done, if possible, by the beginning of November. Most schools are going to have deadlines around that November to December window. There will be some that will have later deadlines. There may be some schools that have rolling admissions. But if you hit that November 1st deadline, you're usually in pretty good shape. Career Tech School, so Hillsborough County has several different technical colleges that are part of Hillsborough County Public Schools. So Irwin, Half-Reach, Lee, Brewster, and Leary, they're kind of spread around the county. So for students who are looking at something other than that traditional four-year college, these are really good options. They offer the sort of career certificates in lots of different fields. So things like firefighting, culinary, electrician, plumbing, lots of those kind of trade school type things. You can do most of those through the Hillsborough County Tech Schools. It's really affordable. They usually take a year or less, and they're local, so you can live at home, you can commute. So it's an easy kind of thing to get done. HCC also offers a variety of associate in science degrees. So an associate in science degree is a 2-year degree that's career focused. So it's going to be a little bit longer. You get a little bit more experience. You're usually applying for a better job. But those are really good options for students who maybe know that, I've been in school for 13 years, I want to do something different. Or if you want to be kind of more hands-on. The technical colleges and HCC's associate in science degree programs can be really good. And then the military. So if your students are looking at military opportunities after high school, the websites are up there, and you can usually find those just by Googling. We do offer the ASVAB here at Bloomingdale several times throughout the year, so usually 3 or 4 times during the school year. I think we're done with ASVABs for this year, yes? I think so, yes. So for next year, students can sign up for that through Canvas. They'll see the dates posted online. They just sign up and then they come in, they actually do it in this room, they come in and take the ASVAB here. We have recruiters here on campus basically throughout the week. You can find in the bulletin, it's got each recruiter's contact info and then the dates that they're here, the days of the week that they're here. So for students who are interested in joining the military after high school, let us know, we can kind of connect you with the right people and we can kind of help with that process too. All right, so let's talk a little bit about financial aid. Financial aid is kind of a big topic, so we're going to kind of skim through this. I got to keep an eye on the clock here. The FAFSA is the first step. So the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. You guys are going to fill this out starting in October of next year. So October 1st of your senior year, the FAFSA will open. It's going to use what's called prior year taxes. So the way to think about it is you guys are going to graduate in 2025. So you're going to be applying for financial aid for the 25-26 school year. You're going to do that in October of 2024 using taxes from 2023. So 2025 school year, or 25-26 school year, you're applying for aid. You're doing it in 2024 using taxes from 2023, prior year. This is how you become eligible for federal financial aid. Things like grants, scholarships, student loans. Sometimes people feel like if I fill out the FAFSA, I have to take out student loans. That's not true. It just makes you eligible for student loans. You can decide whether or not you want to take those loans out. But again, we encourage everybody to fill out the FAFSA basically as soon as you can. If you can do it on October 1st, great. But if not, do it as soon as you can after October 1st. The earlier you fill that form out, the more money you're going to be eligible for. So definitely make sure you mark that date on your calendar. You can't fill it out until October 1st, so don't go online right now and fill it out. But just wait for that 25-26 FAFSA to open on October 1st. Scholarships. So there are tons of scholarships out there. There are scholarships for anything that you can think of: academics, athletics, merit, art, need. So anything that you can think of, you can find scholarships for. This is something that's always kind of a struggle for us, is like pushing kids to fill these things out. I know a lot of times kids feel like, I don't have a chance to get this scholarship, or is it really worth writing this essay to maybe get $500? It's absolutely worth it. I can't tell you how many times there are scholarships that come up and maybe we get 1 or 2 applications. So if you apply, a lot of times you have a really good shot at getting that scholarship. There are a lot of free websites out there to look for scholarships, FastWeb scholarships, there's a bunch of them out there. We have a bunch posted on our website as well. The Hillsborough County puts out a monthly scholarship matrix. We post that every month. It's basically just a list of scholarships that are open to anybody. There are different criteria for each one. There are some apps out there that you can download to kind of search for scholarships. You can basically create a profile and it'll feed you scholarships that fit with kind of what's on your profile. Each college will have their own scholarships too. So if you've got some schools in mind that you want to apply to, you can find scholarships on their websites. There is no limit to the amount of scholarship money that you can earn. So if you apply for more scholarship money than you need, you will get a refund from that college, and you can use that money for whatever else you might need. Maybe you need a laptop, or books, or food, or whatever. There is no limit to the amount of scholarship money you can earn. One other thing with that I would say is, don't pay anybody to get these scholarships, or find scholarships for you. Sometimes you'll come across things like that where it's like, if you pay us, we'll guarantee that we'll get you, whatever, X number of scholarships. Don't pay for any of those things. You can find those things for free usually yourself. Nobody has any secret scholarships, so don't pay for a list of scholarships. All right, so let's talk about Bright Futures. So Bright Futures is a scholarship students can get if they graduate from a Florida high school and they stay in Florida for college. Bright Futures has 3 main scholarships that they award: the academic, the medallion, and then the gold seal. So the academic is the first one. That's the biggest one. It covers 100% of your tuition at a public school. At a private college in Florida, it pays a flat rate, so $212 per credit hour for 4-year college, $105 per credit hour for 2-year school. To qualify for that 100% scholarship, you need a 3.5 weighted academic GPA. So the weighted academic GPA is a little bit different than the GPA that the students are going to see on the transcripts or on the report card. That weighted academic GPA is only using your academic courses. So it's looking at your 4 English, your 4 math, your 3 science, your 3 social studies, and your 2 foreign language credits. So if you think back to that slide about graduation requirements, you'll notice that there are no foreign language requirements for graduation. You do not have to take foreign language to graduate from high school. However, if you want to qualify for a Bright Futures scholarship, you need 2 years of the same language, either at the high school level or through dual enrollment. So it's very important if your students haven't done that yet, they haven't taken those foreign language classes. This summer might be a good time to take Spanish 1 online, and then we'll get Spanish 2 next year. You could also do it through dual enrollment and get 2 years done in 1 year that way. So 3.5 weighted academic GPA, 100 hours of community service, or 100 hours of work hours, and then the test scores are up there. So it's a 1340 SAT, a 29 ACT, or a 96 CLT. Those are tough test scores to get. The test scores seem to go up every year. That's usually what stops a lot of kids from qualifying for this one, is getting those test scores. The step down from that one is the medallion scholarship. The medallion scholarship is going to cover 75% of your tuition. It's a little bit less at private colleges, $141 per hour at 4-year college. This one only requires a 3.0 weighted academic 75 hours of community service, you still need the 100 hours of work hours, and then the test scores are there too, so a 12, 10 SAT, 25 ACT, or 84 CLT. So that would be the 75% scholarship. That's still a good chunk of your tuition. And then finally, the Gold Seal. The Gold Seal is a little bit of a different scholarship. This one doesn't pay for you to go to a four-year college and get a bachelor's degree. It does not pay for you to go to HCC and then transfer to a four-year college. The Gold Seal is paying for those career programs. So if you were looking at an AS degree, a career certificate, the applied technology diploma, so if you're looking at basically a tech school, the Gold Seal could be a really good way to pay for that entire program. This one, the requirements are a little different. You need a 3.0 in your non-elective courses. You have to take 3 credits of the same vocational program here in high school. So 3 years of TD, 3 years of auto tech, 3 years of culinary. You need a 3.5 in those 3 credits. And then the test scores are up there. So 490 SAT reading, 480 SAT math, ACT 17, 19, 19, and then the PERT, the 106 reading, 103 writing, 114 math. The PERT is a test that HCC uses to place students in classes. Kids can take the PERT through HCC. It's free the first time you take it. It's $10 to take each section after that. So if your students need to take the PERT for the Gold Seal, we can help them with that. Check HCC's website, but send them by guidance. We can get them set up there too. Again, that weighted academic GPA, so just to kind of review that, it's different than the GPA that's on your transcript. It's calculated using just those academic classes. Bright Futures does award an extra ½ a point for any weighted class, so English honors, an A in English honors would be 4.5, as opposed to the 4.0 with the regular English. Again, they're looking at your core classes, your English, math, science, social studies, and foreign language. Bright Futures can use up to 2 credits in any of those areas, 2 extra credits in any of those areas if you have them. So for example, if your student has 4 science credits, they can add that extra science credit into that calculation if that extra credit helps their GPA. If it doesn't help them, they won't include it. The Bright Futures application opens also on October 1st in their senior year, so this is another thing to put on that calendar for October 1st. The website is up there. I wish it was just brightfutures.com, but it's floridastudentfinancialaid.sg.org. I don't know why. You apply online. It's a very easy application. There's no parent information. There's no financial information. We actually have students fill this one out here on campus through their English class, but if they want to do it from home, they can knock that out really easily. The community service or work hours, so kind of getting that done. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's a screenshot of the hour logs, kind of what those look like. Students can pick those up either in the guidance office or you can print them from the guidance website. You just fill them out as you go, just kind of keep track of your hours, turn them in, as you fill that page up, just drop it off in the guidance office. We'll sign off on it, we'll put those hours on our transcript. That's how Bright Futures will pick up those hours. They pull your transcript basically once every semester and they'll pick up the hours as we go. Basically, any hours that your students have done from summer after 8th grade all the way through graduation can count for Bright Futures. So whether they're doing the community service hours or the work hours, keep track of all of that stuff, turn it in as they go. We'll keep updating the number on their transcript. Really good. Okay. Communication, so there's lots of ways that we will get in touch with you, lots of ways that you will see information from guidance. The Bloomingdale Guidance website is a great resource. We keep that updated. I think we do a really good job of putting information out through that website. The resources page on Canvas has a lot of good information as well. That's where students can sign up for that ASVAB. Lots of other signups kind of go through that resources page. The announcements on TV. If you're not following us on Twitter, you can follow us on Twitter at BDL Guidance. We tweet out a lot of stuff as we get information on scholarships or different events that are going on. The weekly bulletin that goes out every Sunday night, if you guys aren't reading that, definitely get into the habit of that. There is a lot of good information in that newsletter. You can always reach out to us on Canvas or through email. If you need anything, you can give us a call too, whatever works. The morning and afternoon announcements that happen here at school, those are really important too, so I know sometimes kids will tune those out. Try to pay attention to those because we do put important information there. Flyers that are posted around school, different events going on, and then if there's something super important kind of like this, we'll send out a parent link. So watch for all of those things. Definitely as you guys are going into senior year, there's going to be more updates, more information coming your way, so be ready for that. Schedules for next year, so the schedule will be released through Canvas prior to open house. So just like always, schedules will come out at the end of summer. I know everybody's always anxious to get their schedule. We met with everybody, we met with all our students and gone over what are you signed up for, making sure we've got that kind of dialed in the way that they want it. Once you get your schedule, obviously if there are questions, let us know. We can work through that. But just keep an eye on Canvas as we go through the summer. You'll get some details on open house, and then schedules will come out just before open house in August. All right, I know that's a ton of stuff